Hello, I'm Angela Barranco, Executive Director for North America at Climate Group. We're hosting the U.S. Climate Action Summit in Washington, D.C. on April 19th, and we're bringing together the top climate experts in the U.S. from the public and private sector. We want to facilitate a conversation where real change, accountability, and progress is possible. Today, we're talking climate deals. What is the secret art behind making a climate deal and getting all your stakeholders on board? I'm so excited to speak with Sarah Chandler, Vice President, Environment and Supply Chain Innovation at Apple. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I have so many questions for you, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
You guys have been putting out some amazing announcements, and Apple just recently announced that over 250 of its global manufacturing partners will decarbonize Apple production by 2030. Tell us about the process of getting partners to sign up to this ambitious commitment, and how did you get this deal over the line?
Yeah, it's been an exciting month. We just announced, as you said, 250 suppliers are committed to renewable energy for their Apple production. Context, they represent about 85% of our direct manufacturing spend. So that's a huge commitment across our supply chain. And in total, their commitments are 20 gigawatts of renewable energy, and 13 of that is already operational today. So, this is something we've been at work at for a long time. It's part of our ambitious goal to be carbon neutral by 2030. We know we can't do that without our supply chain. About 70% of our carbon footprint is from manufacturing. So we've been working with our suppliers to transition to renewable energy. And last fall, we actually called on them to go even further to cover their scope 1 and their scope 2 as well. And I share all that because I think it's important context to your question. The first part of getting these deals across the line is to be clear about the intention, where we're going, and why we're going there. So we want to help suppliers in that transition. We offer a lot of educational resources. We have a Clean Energy Academy. We have a Clean Energy portal they can access in their local language, lots of details about their markets. Actually, we just announced plans to gift that even beyond our industry. And then, so that first part is telling them where we're going. The second part is providing resources and education and that partnership. But, I think the biggest factor has actually been that it's becoming more and more obvious all the time that clean energy is good for business. So I think around the world, we're seeing more and more folks transition to renewable energy. Our suppliers are no exception. And I think the most exciting part of the program is actually many of our suppliers have transitioned to renewable energy with Apple's help, and then have realized it's great for business, and they're doing it for their other customers as well. So that's where you get to really big scale and impact, and it's very exciting.
I mean, it's just huge and so exciting. And I really want to pick up on this idea about how partners are really moving towards 100% renewable energy. What does their climate action look like specifically within the US?
Yeah, great question. So, our US-based manufacturing partners are right there with us. They are making steady progress. We have 27 of them so far in our Supplier Clean Energy program. And I think they're finding success with a variety of approaches. We're lucky to have a lot of options in the United States. So some of them are already running on 100% renewable. Others are nearing that goal through the use of green utility programs. And some of them are using PPAs for wind and solar and projects across the country. And that makes sense. Apple is actually also using 100% renewable energy for our footprint in the United States, and has been since 2018. And about 90% of our renewable energy projects are Apple created. So that means we're bringing new clean power online, and we're using those lessons learned in the United States and in other places where we're located to inform how we suggest our suppliers do the same and where they might have the most success.
I mean, I love hearing kind of the process that your partners are really going through to get this done. And, I also know that you consider the circular economy work a real critical part of your scope 3 emissions work. Can you talk a little more about that for us as well?
Yeah, I thank you for asking this question, because I think sometimes we get so focused on one part that we forget that it's all a connected system. So in addition to our 2030 goal to be carbon neutral, we are working towards another ambition as well, which is to build all of our products using only recycled and renewable materials. We're about 20% of the way there, which is just incredible innovation across a lot of teams at Apple. But here's the great thing, is that work goes hand in hand with our climate goals, as you're alluding to, because often recycled materials are lower carbon impact than primary materials. So I think examples are helpful. One example, we switched one of our MacBook Air models to 100% recycled aluminum in its enclosure. That single change lowered the carbon footprint of the device by almost 50%. So in fact, our transition to recycled and low carbon aluminum over the years, as a broad portfolio for that material, that's reduced the carbon emissions of aluminum by 70% since 2015. And that's just one example, one material. We are definitely working material by material, innovation by innovation. We are designing and building products with more recycled and renewable materials, and you're seeing the carbon benefits of that. You're seeing the help to the climate there. We just announced some really amazing progress on this front. By 2025, all of the batteries that we design for our products will include 100% recycled cobalt. All of the magnets in our products will use 100% recycled rare earths. We have a lot of progress that we just shared on gold, tin, tantalum's almost 95% recycled today. And of course, aluminum continues to make great progress. So I don't mean to imply we are done. I said we're 20% of the way there. So we obviously still have a long ways to go. We can't stop innovating now, but we're really excited. And a lot of that innovation takes place right here in the United States with our design teams, and also with our Material Recovery Lab, which is in Austin, Texas, where we have Apple engineers, industry experts, developing innovative ways to give materials in Apple products new life. It helps us inform design decisions that support disassembly and recovery. All of this combines to a climate strategy that really puts us on a path to carbon neutrality.
And I love that story. And I think, obviously many consumers are interested in that. So what do you see as the sort of the role and how important it is to bring the consumer and the public along with you on this incredible climate journey, right? How do you communicate success, but also some of the limitations, right? That sometimes, and then with some of these pathways, we don't yet have a 100%, pathway to reduce those emissions. So, what do you do with that?
Great question. Yeah, we believe that communication is critical to our work. And I guess similar to what I said for suppliers, I would say we're aiming to be extremely transparent with the customers about where we are and where we're headed and how we're going to get there. So this is maybe a little bit different for Apple. We're known for being secretive about new products. We love to surprise our customers, but that makes it, especially fun to work on our environmental efforts, because we want to share with others. We want to encourage them to follow our lead. And we want other people to be able to start, where we are, not where we started, because this has been a long journey. And look, let's be real, we are running out of time. So there are, challenges ahead. And I'll give an example again. We need to be transparent about where we're going and how we're going to get there, but also how we made these decisions. So I talked a lot about materials. We have, in our transition to 100% recycled and renewable materials, we have 14 priority materials. We are public about how we picked them, the criteria that made them get on our priority list. We list all of our data sources. The intent is that maybe others would then use that to prioritize their materials. And we've been pretty clear about our 2030 climate roadmap. We've actually been especially transparent there because we know customers care about climate change. And we think it's really important to communicate that our roadmap is comprehensive, that we are laser focused on decarbonizing our products, on emission reductions across our entire footprint. And so we share every year and update with our customers on our efforts, how we're doing, what the numbers are. And to your point, that includes being very clear about how nature-based carbon removal fits into our plan. So for us, we're working to drive down emissions 75% from our 2015 levels. But we know there aren't sufficient pathways available today for us to eliminate all residual emissions. Aviation fuel is a good example. We can't just zero it out today. And we also know we don't have time to wait. So we are innovating in the carbon removal space as well. We have our Restore Fund. It's a really unique investment approach that can generate a financial return and climate benefits. So you can invest $1 and get more of that back and also take carbon out of the atmosphere. We just expanded the Restore Fund with a new commitment of an additional up to $200 million. And we also take this transparency to the product, because a lot of customers are interacting with us by buying a product, using their product. And so we want to publish how our environmental work shows up there. We publish product environmental reports. They talk about our use of recycled content, energy efficiency, smarter chemistry, and much, much more. And really our aim is to be very transparent there with the customers and to encourage others to do the same. I think it's really important to be backing your efforts with science, with third-party verification, and with public data. So that's what we aim to do.
I love that. And I think, I'll sneak one more question in, because I think there's an opportunity here with so much momentum behind climate action right now in the US, and big businesses, really big businesses like Apple being a critical part of the solution as we move forward tangible climate action. What messages do you have for other businesses trying to get their stakeholders engaged, or just as they're, perfecting the art of their own climate deals?
Yeah, I think I'd say first and foremost, get started. If you haven't already, we are in a very urgent time, and taking action is really important. So, ideally, that starts with understanding your own comprehensive carbon footprint, including your scope 3. I can't say that enough. But don't let a lack of comprehensive data hinder all of your progress. I think that's why renewable energy is such a great place to start. You don't need a lot more data to know that clean energy will lower your carbon footprint. So go ahead and get going. And there's not much risk in more renewable energy. And I guess second, I would say, don't believe the trade-off that I think there's this false trade-off notion that what's good for business and good for the planet are different. They're not. One of the things we're observing is that in our work, we are actually decoupling growth in revenue from growth in business from growth in carbon. And our suppliers are seeing that too as they transition to renewable energy. So it's not just good for the planet, it's good for business. And we should lean into that. And maybe if I have one more second, I would also say, bring the innovation, the detail, the relentless optimism, the futuristic mindset that you dedicate to your business challenges every day, to your plans. Bring that to reducing impact on the planet. If you can do it for profit, you can do it for climate, and in fact, you can do it for both.
I love it. I don't think we could leave on a better note. Relentless innovation, everybody. Get out there and get it done.
Get out there and get it done. Get to work. Thank you so much for the time and for doing this.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for speaking with Climate Group. Everyone, if you want to hear more about how businesses and leaders like Sarah are pushing for more ambitious climate action in the US, please check out our website. Tune in to the U.S. Climate Action Summit on April 19th. Thank you so much. Great to chat with you, Sarah.
Thank you.